This Pitch Breakfast video is brought to you by Spangler and Agins.
Hi. Hello, everyone. My name's Sridhar Bhairappa. My partner is Varsha Venkatesh. So I've about 7+ years of pharmaceutical company experience, big pharma, Merck, Schering-Plough, Wyeth. So during drug development, there are a lot of inefficiencies. There is time and money lost, and these are large amounts of money. And our product, iClinical, will fix some of these inefficiencies. So our product is a data aggregation and analytics platform for clinical trials. So this is real time. So the data collection happens in front of the subject. So the trial physician sits in front of the subject, collects the data on an Android tablet, and it gets stored in cloud servers, and the analytics happens again on the study tablet. And the whole thing happens in real time. So the pharma companies spend about $90 billion on research per year, and about $30 billion is outsourced. We are in that space. So we actually, I mean, so
You're doing good.
So I have a question.
okay,
Yeah?
go ahead.
Can I ask a question? So you're saying that your app, your product lives on a tablet,
Right.
and that clinical research people, like victims of clinical research, their results get captured in real time, and that somehow provides a platform for analytics. Could you give an example? Like, could you talk through like a use case where somebody might use it?
So it's used by pharma companies, medical device companies, so anybody doing medical research.
Mm-hmm.
So so the drug companies do research, they hire clinical trial physicians,
Mm-hmm.
and the subject sits in front of the physician, and they collect the data in real time.
Right.
Right now what happens is they do it in paper. They do it in paper, or they take their data from medical records, and that feeds into like pharma company servers, which are in silos. And again, they can be analyzed in real time. So we kind of solve the problem.
What's the benefit of doing it in real time?
The trial gets done faster.
Okay.
So for a pharma company, this is a big deal. Because, for example, let's take a cardiovascular drug. The research phase 3 study takes about 3 to 4 years, and they spend about a few $100 million on that. Now, we can save about 4 to 6 months of that trial period, and that would translate into, for a cardiovascular drug, first year revenue is about $1 billion. So it's a few $100 million in savings for the pharma company.
But this is what CROs do. I mean, that's what they specialize on.
That is exactly what they do, but we provide the tools for them. So this is actually a tool for the CROs to use, CROs and the pharma companies to use, to speed up the trial.
So that's what I would have hoped that you continue to
It'd be a
elaborate
good positioning,
on.
yeah.
Because you still haven't made it clear. I mean, CROs are huge companies.
Right.
There's lots in North Carolina, and they spend a ton of money in technology.
Right.
My general first intuition from what you described would be they're already doing everything that you just mentioned. So I think, especially for the non-expert, it would help if you just focus on the fact that what is it that educate us on what is it that the CROs do not do currently, and why is it that you can come in and provide something that they want? So
the pharma company dictates what CROs do.
Sure.
So the pharma company says, I have to mention the competitors right now. So it's Oracle Inform and Medidata Rev. So these are big companies, and they operate the world way. So it's paper, EMRs, data goes in. So the pharma company they are very super conservative people. So they want research done right, and they make sure everything's secure, but they're running into a wall. The research is not going fast enough. They're losing a lot of money on drugs that are not working. So the pipeline is not getting filled. So that's why you have this pharma acquisitions and all that good stuff. So the pharma company decides what happens, even for the CROs. The pharma company says, use Oracle Inform. This is all it's set up. Now go do the trial. So we are trying to change that. We will approach the pharma companies to use, try out our product, use it, because it really saves them a lot of money. And they can run a lot more drugs through the process. Because right now they're clogged. They're like, we can do 3 drugs and that's it. Now we can do 6 drugs instead of 3.
So is your product, is it useful for a quintiles? Is it useful for a 1 little 2 physician-led operation? Who do you sell to?
Everything. So small physician practices, if they want to run independent trials, anybody who is starting the trial, who is initiating the trial. So it's usually the big pharma companies that do that. But if medical researchers in a university setting can also use this and perfectly do it.
Somebody like Quintiles is not using real-time data?
Not right now, no. So there is like a delay. So the delay really kills, because in the study startup phase, they spend about like 4 to 8.
Why not?
Why not? Because there are constraints because of the tools. They're all like tested out, all patched up. We kind of get away from all that. Ours is like mobile, cloud, and mobile again. We get away from all the layers of pharma company.
I think
So that was on purpose, by the way.
I think the trick of your pitch is going to have to be around that. Why is it that you can come in, and I'm not saying that it's not possible, it's actually very possible all the time, it happens all the time. A small company comes in and is able to do something much better, more efficient, more unique than a big company. I mean, it's how startups grow. But that's a tough proposition. You mentioned a couple of very difficult challenges. You are a small company, are going to go and convince big pharma companies how to do things and not use Oracle. I mean, that's a tough one, right? To say to Glaxo, to convince him to have that has a huge deal with Oracle in Quintiles, that they should use you instead.
Right.
And then you
That
gotta
is
say,
tough. That is
fill in the
tough.
blanks.
Yeah.
Why?
Right. So we'll kind of like ramp up from like phase 1 trials, show the data, everything works, everything is good, and then we'll work our way to larger
And
trials.
that's why I think the way to do it is by focusing on your beachhead, to start to define maybe a big vision, but try to maybe describe a much smaller initial target market.
Right.
Because if you say, I'm going to convince Quintiles to not use Oracle when they work with Glaxo, I'm not going to believe that you're going to be able to do that. So
Right.
you instead just describe your beachhead.
Right.
Describe the initial market that you're after, which is much more credible and much more doable. Then I might be interested in hearing how you can do that, and maybe you already have some traction.
Yeah,
And
I
it's
mean-
good to have that vision long term, but that would not be the first thing that I mentioned.
Hey, let's let people out there, what do y'all want to say? Hey.
Yeah, speaking of that beachhead, who is your perfect customer, and how would you segment out your customers to find that perfect customer?
We don't have any perfect customer in mind, because this can be used in pretty much all the clinical trials, but it's designed for like big pharma. So it's so like 100 centers, several thousand subjects, so it can scale very easily. It's tablets. We customize everything for one protocol. So the front-end data aggregation, the storage, analytics, everything is pre-configured, so that once the tablet goes out, it's real-time data from day 1, which is important. Now they are getting data from day 90, because the data is 3 months old. So, which is really a big deal for pharma companies. They can keep track of the trial in real time. And another really important thing is they can chop off trials that are not working, which are wasting lots of money. So chop off the trials early and get the ones that are working done faster. Patients get drug faster, and as I mentioned, a few $100 million in savings.
I think you do need to define a better beachhead, though. I mean, I think that question is very important because it's too broad. To say that you are good for everything, people will not necessarily be able to identify you with a specific problem today that they can solve. It's a problem that if you get to raise money, but it's also a problem to sell your product.
Absolutely. I mean, we have a demo which which kind of goes through that well, and it tells
No, but again,
exactly
it's not
how
about
it.
the product or what they can do.
Right.
You need to make a decision strategically that there's a market for which it's just perfectly suited. So a market, for example, that requires fast response. I mean, testing for Ebola drugs. I mean, you
Right.
need to be very quick. You need real-time data.
Right.
And you need it now. So if you had a product like that today, you can give it to the drug company that is working in Durham to try to find a vaccine for that.
Yeah, I mean,
Something
see,
like
those
that.
are really fast, but but it can definitely be used. Yeah.
You had something, man?
So is depending on the fact of you can cut off ones that aren't working, focus on the ones that are working, isn't the point of clinical trials to keep kind of failing until you find something that works?
No.
And if they are working,
No, chop the drugs off. No, chop the.
clinical trials.
No, you see, the pharma company wants to chop the drug off that's not working fast, because they can focus on the things that are working. Right now, they spend about like drag on for 3 to 6 months, and then find out that it's not working, because it's bad for the subjects too, or on the trial, because they are just it might be causing harm rather than good. So find out faster and close them out. And the more you can run through the pipeline, the more success you have of getting the right ones. So yeah, that's just that's what pharma companies do all the time. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.